Mr. Finch.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. These triploid oysters that are apparently genetically modified, I'm actually quite staggered. This is news to me, obviously. That there is no labelling for them as separate from naturally grown ones. Could anyone explain to me why not? I mean, particularly I know across Europe and particularly in the UK, we have a very interesting debate on genetically modified plant material specifically. If we're having oysters that are genetically modified and not labelled as such, I would think certainly the British consumer would be extraordinarily concerned with that. Thank you.
Mr. BAUD, I'm not a scientist, so Mr. BAUD, I'll let you answer that. Try and give us an answer. Thank you, Mr. Caddick. Firstly, it's not a genetically modified organism. In France, for example, trout is triploid, is as is clementines. Tobacco is polyploid. So it's not a genetically modified organism. It's taken on a genetically modified organism has a gene which is not part of that species gene, and it's then put into the organism. Here we're moving from diploid chromosomes to triploid chromosomes. So we have triple chromosomes, which means that because it has an uneven number of chromosomes, it's sterile. That's the first point to note. Secondly, IFREMER, as a scientific group, has 50 permanent researchers working on shellfish production. No other European country has that. So we're doing absolutely everything that we can. We heard before that it's perhaps not working at the same speed as production, but we're not trying to pit one against the other. We're trying to work together. Natural traditional methods exist, as do hatcheries. So the triploids is to make the oysters sterile, so they don't reproduce. We have a network called Biovigilance, which for the last 8 years has been demonstrating that no triploid residues are active. You can't label it as triploid as opposed to diploid, sadly, because all oysters look the same. So it's very difficult to draw a distinction between the two. The only way to tell the difference is to do quite a complex procedure, which can't be done when producers mix triploids and diploids. As scientists, we're in favour of traceability. We want people to know exactly what they're eating. But this is not a GMO, and we can't label it because it's extremely complex to do so. Mr. Finch, I'll give you the floor again, but then other colleagues will take the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Sorry, I may be being extraordinarily dim, but do these triploid oysters occur naturally in nature, or were they brought about through scientific means? That's essentially what I want to know. I understand the difference between what we would term genetically modified and none, but I would like to know whether these occur naturally in nature. Thank you, Mr. Bell.
Well, there are no natural triploid oysters. But I could give you an example from shellfish. In scallops, there are natural triploid scallops. But just in oysters, no. But we can. It was done by man. The chair. Yes, it was manipulation, but not genetic manipulation. It was human manipulation, human modification.